Okay. So for this module here, we have something called separation of concern. Unfortunately, it's 2 weeks. Last years, it was 3 weeks, but I have no choice. I mean, they take 1 week from me. So what is separation of concern? The idea of separation of concern, we'll see it in details, but it's first we need to understand what's the DOM. So it's about the DOM. And second is about how we separate our code. So we have something called util function, something called component function, and of course, as you know, event or listener and handler. We'll take an example as a flight. I will explain it for you. But before that, let's go a little bit to this project. I know some of you did it, but actually this is a good example to see how separation of concern works. So if I go here now, we already review, I think, I don't know, Friday or something. I told you what is the DOM. So the DOM here is a document object model. It's an API. What is an API? An API is tools in your browser, or we can build our own API on the backend. But here, when I say API, I mean in the browser. Some tool help you to do something. For example, the DOM here allow me, so whenever you have your HTML, to make it really simple, that's the HTML here. Now your browser parse your HTML. By parse, that means interpret. For example, when I say console.log, if I say console.log, we make it lowercase. Hello, for example. Voila. Now, if I hit enter, as you can see, it gives me what it is. Why? What's the reason why my browser can understand JavaScript? Because JavaScript, we have a JavaScript engine inside my browser. But my browser does not only have JavaScript. It has HTML parser. It has CSS parser. What is that supposed to mean? Well, that means that my HTML here, it will be interpreted. It will be, the browser will try to understand it. It will try to show it here in the element. Same for my CSS. That's what we call the DOM. Now, the DOM is a tree of element. Why we call it tree of element? I'll show you why. DOM, click. If I go to this one here, voila. So we call it tree of elements. Why? Because as you can see, it's look like a tree. So we have the document here. The document is just mean your page. So if I go to my browser here and I type document, click, I type document here. As you can see, my page here is being highlighted. So my page here, when I hover over this one, as you can see, my page is being highlighted. So it's the whole page. Inside the page, I have my HTML, as you can see. Now, doc type, as you can see, it just defines that we are using HTML5 because we have different version 4 and so on. And here inside it, we have that what we call the root tag HTML. We have the head, we have the body. In the head, we only have the meta tag, as you can see. Also, we put sometimes we put our script, but that's not how we do it, but you can do it if you want to. So we have some meta tag. So these meta tags are important for the browser to understand or to parse my HTML. Also, we have our link. We are linking our CSS and so on. And we have the body. The body contain our actual element, as you can see. And at the end of the body, normally we put our script here, the link to our JavaScript. Is that clear? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, we have the document my page, then I have the root element. And inside the root, I have the head, then I have the body. You already know this stuff. I have a lot of stuff in the body, and the head, I have some meta tag. Now, it's look like a tree, actually. So if I try to draw it here, I will have my document, that's my root element. Then I will have here the body, I will have the head here. And then inside the head, I have some meta tag. Voila, that's the head. And here it will be the body. And inside the body, as you can see, I will have different elements. So that's the reason why we call it tree of element. Tree of element or tree of nodes. Of course, the nodes is this one here. So as you can see, that's what we call node. In English, that's what is node here. That's what's node here. This one here, the point where two stuff intersect here. This one and this one. So when I have something and something, that's what we call node here. So it's tree of nodes or tree of elements. Of course, all DOM elements are object. Or DOM element are objects. So we've seen how to create an element. It's quite simple. We can use a document, as you can see. And so just document.create element. Actually, let's log the document and see here. If I say document like that, click. Voila. let's go here. If I click on the document, as you can see, the document has a lot of method. The document is an object. What do I mean by object? That means it has a lot of property and method. So if I go to the document here and I see we have a lot of stuff. But what is important for me, let's go quickly here. Children, if I say children here, it has one child. Why? Because inside after the document here, after the document, what it comes is the root element here. So, so that's the reason why. Where is it? Voila. That's the reason why the children here, we have one child only. And the children normally it's HTML collection. HTML collection, it looks like an array, but it's not an array. It does not have all the method of the array. But we can convert HTML collection to array. Also node list, same idea. It looks like an array, but it is not an array actually. But we can, if we want, we can convert it to an array. So if you go here, we have cookies. We have a lot of stuff here. But if you doc type a lot of stuff here, you don't need to know about all of this stuff. So there's many methods, as you can see. Now, what's important for me here is first to create an element. I need to say document.create element, as you can see. And create element here, I need to define my tag in lowercase, whatever the tag is, as you can see. So create element, if I hover over it, and what does it do here? It's a method here. This method exists on the document. So create a new instance of the element, as you can see. This method create element does not exist in anything else. It does exist on the document. Also, another method, which is document.get element by ID. Get element by ID only exists on the document. It does not exist on as a DOM element. Is the idea clear here? Yes. So we have create element, we have append element, we have inner text. So we have something called inner HTML, we have something called inner text, we have text content as well. So the difference between inner HTML and inner text here, inner HTML, if I say like that, for example, let's just say const app, it's equal to document dot get element ID by app. Why? Because if I go to my HTML, as you can see, here I have something div which is ID app. Now, if I try to do this one here, say app dot inner HTML, and here I just created a string like a button, let's say, button, and say click me like that. Now inner HTML to render it as a button. So if I go to as you can see, it render it as a button. But if I say inner text, it will not do the same. It will just render it as a text. Voila. And as you can see, it render it as a text. That's the difference between inner HTML and inner text. We have text content. Text content is a little bit different. How do I mean by that? Well, let me show you what do I mean. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going here. Let me go inside this one. Let me put some text, hello, and I will create a span here. And this span here, let's say hello span. In this span, for example, if I add a class, or I add some style here, let's just add style, display none. So I have some CSS display, none. Voila. Now notice when I try to do the inner text and the inner text and the text content, what's the difference between the two? So if I log app dot inner text like that, and then I also I want to log text content. Voila. What do you think is the difference between the two? To make it really simple, I will make this one inner text so we can see it. I'll make this one text content. Voila. So what do you think is the difference between the two? Anton? Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I cannot hear you.
I don't understand really bit.
Artur? Yeah.
I think text content reading in text read just inside this container. text container written
Mhm.
with all tag who inside this container. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All,
Daniel? Yeah,
all
good. Daniel?
Yeah, I was thinking the same. It like stick everything with the children inside all the text.
Okay. Indeed. So the inner text here is only takes the text. So if I have any CSS, as you can see here, it will respect the CSS. It will not consider this element. This element is hidden, as you can see, so it will not do this one. It will respect the CSS. It will not read this element here. It will only read the text. But text content does not respect CSS. If I have CSS or not, it will take everything inside here. It doesn't care about the CSS. It will not respect the CSS. Is the idea clear? Yes?
yeah.
Yes.
So again, inner text just takes the text here, and if there is any CSS, like for example, display none here, it will respect that. It will not take this text here. But text content, it will not respect the CSS. Now, that's what you need for you. That's important for you, no more than that. Most of the time, I use inner text. Text content, I don't use it that much. But then again, to be honest, text content, sometimes it's faster than the inner text. Is why it's faster? Well, because here when I say inner text is somehow it push rendering, so it kind of re-render my whole element. Text content not all the time, it just reads the text only, so it's faster. Here is respecting the CSS, here it checks it for the CSS, so it's a little bit slower. But for you don't need to worry about that. Just know that inner text reads the text. If there is any hidden element, it will, or any hidden text, it will not consider it. Here, text content, it will consider even if there is some hidden text inside my element. Is the idea clear? Yep.
Yep.
Good. That was it. There's only one thing left here. What if I want to remove the element? Well, if I want to remove the element, I can just say app.remove. So we have a method here. It's called remove like that. So that's the element itself. That's the DOM element. I will just say dot remove, and dot remove, as you can see here, it's removes a node. A node, that means the element. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to log the app. Why I'm going to log the app? Well, because we want to see first, what is app? What is app? What is app?
ID.
It's a DOM element, right? It's an ID, yes, but what is app here? This variable, what it is?
Yes, sure. It's DOM element.
It's DOM element. So DOM element normally are object, as I told you. What do I mean by object? Well, by object, that means it has property and method. So if I log the app and I go here, as you can see, that's my app here. It's a div with ID app. But if I click on here, as you can see, also I have a lot of method and a lot of property here. Now, again, you will not use most of those here, but some of those are important. Like, for example, where is the children? Children, it will tell me how many child inside this element. Currently, we don't have any children inside this element, as you can see. So there's no, when I say children, I mean DOM element inside it. We don't have. So we have a text, but we don't have a children. But now here, if I create inside it an H1, so let's try create an H1 and I say hello here. Do that, go in here, try to click on this one, look for the children again. So as you can see now, the children, we have H1 here. So it's telling me that I have one child here. Classless, it will show me all the class belong to this one. Now, child node, that's so the child node is include everything, not just the element, also considering the text also. So the text also is considered, we call it child node. The text is not a DOM element, but it's child node. You don't need to worry about that for now. What you need just to worry about is that children. If I need to know how many children inside the element, I can know that. That's okay. And also we have child count. Child count, I know how many children, so it will tell me 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. This is a property, it returns a number. What else do we have here? So you can check those if you want to. Also, I can say first child, for example. First child or first element child. What's the difference between the two? First element child, that means the first DOM element. The first child here, even the text is considered as a node. So it will be the first thing, it's the text here. Again, don't worry about this one. Just worry about this one here, first element child, which will be H1. If you go more here, we have inner HTML, we have inner text, we have last element child. We have something called node name. That's it. What is the node name? So the node name is the name of the tag, but uppercase. We will see all of that in the exercise. I'm just trying to go very quickly, but in the exercise, we go through that. There's many things here, but what's important for me is, let me go show you here. Now, if I want to select anything inside this element, I can. How? I can just say app dot, can I say get element by ID? This is my app here, it's my div here, this div. Can I say get element by ID? Yes, no?
Yes.
Are you sure I can say get element by ID on the app?
Development. Yes. Development have ID.
No, but get element by ID, it exists only on the document. So I need to say document like that, document dot get element by ID. Because this method, this function only belong to the document. But if now here, this is not the document, this app, it's not a document, it's this div here. It's just a DOM element, as you can see. So if it's a normal DOM element, I cannot use get element by ID. But how can I select an element inside it? Any idea? Do we have any other method to select element inside this DOM element? So if I type, for example, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Get element by inner tag or inner text. Create element.
Yes, but there's something else. So get element by ID, as you can see, I don't have it, but I have something called query selector. So the query selector, it exists on all DOM element if I want to. So if I want to select anything here, query selector, now I want the H1, I can just do H1 here. Voila, and now it will select me this H1 inside it. My point
So
here,
basically, query selector is flexible than get element by ID, right?
True. It's flexible because you can select multiple, you can select IDs, you can select tags, you can select classes, but get element by ID, we only get the by ID. And also get element by ID only exists in the document. Why? Because as you know, the ID for the HTML, we have unique ID. Every element inside my HTML element, it must have actually one unique ID. Two elements cannot have the same ID. That's the reason why it exists in the document, because your document, it needs to scan the whole page, everything, to see if there is any the same ID. If there is duplicate ID, it cannot select it. That's the reason why get element by ID exists only on the document. But query selector is different. Query selector does not only exist on the document, on the page. No, I can use it with inside any element. For example, now that's my div. If I want to select anything inside my div, I can use query selector. It is possible. Is what I'm trying to explain is clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Again, so the document here, it's an object. Inside this object, we have something called get element by ID. We have something called create element. There's method append child. It exists on all DOM element. But these two methods here, it's only belong to the document. So if I want to say use get element by ID, I need to say document. I have no other choice. I need to say document dot get element by ID, as you can see. I need to say document dot create element. I have no other choice because they exist only inside this object document. But let's say query selector, it does not exist only query selector all here, get element by tag. It's not only on the document, it exists on any DOM element. Any DOM element, I can use those with it. So any DOM element, for example, app, I can, in my example, if I want to select the app, and I can say app.query selector, app.whatever. So this method here, query selector and query selector, all does exist on all element, everything. Is this idea clear?
Yeah.
Yes, great. Anton, thank you for sending me this one here. There is a new method here which is called insert adjust HTML. Now I find it a little bit confusing, but anyway, I mean, let me explain this method as well. It's click. Actually, let me go to this one here. I have this one already, that's okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going here, I'm gonna select my element const app. It's equal to document get element ID by app. Why? Because simply in my HTML, as you can see, I have this app. I'm selecting this element here. So what do I need to do here? Well, let's try to use this method here, which is called insert adjust HTML. So what I'm going to do here, I will just say app dot insert adjust HTML. This one take two parameters, this method. The first parameter here, it will be a value. So we have 4 values, as you can see. We have after begin, after end, before begin, and before end. It is confusing, I know, but I've already shared this. I will already share this one for you. It's new. I don't use it normally. So before begin, what does before begin do here? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this property and let me create a new element. So I'm going to create, so I can just say const here, new element. I can just say const. Let's name it paragraph. I will just name it para. It's equal to document, create element paragraph, and I will add some text inside it. So I'll just say p dot inner text. And this is paragraph like that. So how can I use this method here? So as you can see, I created the element paragraph, but the paragraph does not exist in my DOM yet. So if I go here, fail to execute, yes, because it's not finished yet. So if I go here, as you can see, I don't have the paragraph here. Why? Because simply I just created it here. I did not append it. Of course, I can use append to append the element, but let's check this method here, which is called insert adjust HTML. Now, if I say before begin, so before begin is insert the element before the element itself. What do I mean by that? Well, let me put my paragraph here and you will see what do I mean by that. Voila. Now, if I go to this, so what's happening here? What is my paragraph? Yeah, it looks like I have some problem here. Paragraph, object, HTML paragraph. Yes, but what's the problem? Why it doesn't show it? It's not a DOM element. It should work actually.
I think you have to put semicolon at the end of the.
No, semicolon in JavaScript is not necessary, no. Let me try to do something. So const para document dot create element. And here I'm adding para dot inner text, and then I'm passing this one here. HTML paragraph element. Yes, it's an element actually. Maybe the name, just a P. No, object HTML paragraph element. It does not render it. It looks like it does not understand it here as an HTML. Why? Create an element. Let me create something else here. Actually, let me do it here. Document dot create element create, and let me create an H1 for example. Let's see. It does not render it as well. I have the element here, but it does not render it as an HTML here. Let me check this one here. That's the position. Yeah, so second parameter is not an element. It need to be a string. My apology for that. So as you can see here, this element here take 2 parameters. The first parameter, it will be the position where to put the text. The second parameter, it need to be a string, not the DOM element. For example, let me put some string here. I can just say hello word, for example. Now notice what will happen when I say before begin here. So it's going to add the text before the div itself. So it's adding the text before the div itself. Okay, now here, what if I say after end? Well, if I say after end, it will add this text after the element, as you can see. So before the element and after the element. Okay, what if I say after begin? And the name are confusing, but what can we do? After begin here, what it's going to do here, it will add the text inside, as you can see. It will make it as a first child here, as you can see. Voila. So it will add it at the beginning inside the element itself. Well, the last one here, it will add it as a last after all the children here. Voila. This one as well. And if I go here, it's added after. Do not worry about this one. This one is the new method. I'm going to share this one with you. I'm not going to use this method at all, but Anton already sent me this one, so you could have an idea what it is doing.
It wasn't working because you're using adjustment HTML. There is a method like adjacent element.
I think you are right. It's not adjust, insert, adjust HTML, insert, adjust. Let's see. Insert, adjust element. You are right, actually. So it is the same concept as well, as you can see here. So it take also document.create element, which is div here. Let me not create div, let me create paragraph. Thank you, Daniel. So as you can see, I'm creating a new element. When I say before, it's same idea. So let me say first, before begin. So this is a property. Now what it's going to do, it will add this element before the app. So if I go here, voila, it's added before the app. Second here, if I use this one, which is called after end, it will add it after the div. Voila. Let's go here, and it's added after the div. But if I use this two here, which is after begin, before end, it will add it inside the element itself. Voila. And if I go here, as you can see, it's added here. If I try this one as well, it is the same idea, but it will make it before. Voila. Oh, well, this element as well. I did not know there's two new methods here. Insert adjust element, insert adjust HTML. I'm not going to use those, but just so you know that exists this one. Okay, that's basically general idea about the DOM. We will encounter a lot of exercises related to the DOM. Little by little, we'll learn more about the DOM. But now let's go to our example here, what we're going to do, which will be flights. Flights will help us to do some separation of concern. Some of you already did the project flight, but it will be good for everyone. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm gonna delete this one, I'm gonna delete this one, I'm gonna delete this one, I'm gonna delete this one. Actually, maybe I can keep this one. So as you can see, we're gonna do this project flight here, and we will implement separation of concern. Now, first, what is separation of concern? Can anyone tell me what is separation of concern? And why do we need it? Yes.
To make code reusable.
Yes, good. And we make our code reusable and
Structure.
it make our code modular. Modular, that means they are separated, we can use it. But more importantly, our code becomes smaller, like that we can debug it easy. Because if I have a function like 300 line, it's not easy to debug. But if I have a function with 10 line, it will be easy to debug. So it's why separation of concern? Because separation of concern help us for reusability. We can reuse util function, we can reuse component function, and also it's good for debugging, because the more my code smaller, the easier to debug. So what is separation of concern? As I told you, how can we separate it? So we have something called component, event, handler. Event, sometimes we call it listener. It's the same idea. Handler, util. We have data, we have DOM. You already know this structure. So the easiest way to start here, you can first write your code in one file, and after that, implement separation of concern. So now, what do I want to do now? Well, as you can see, I have my data here. My data is group of flights here. And as you can see, now I need to put my DOM element. So what I might put a DOM element, I did not create my DOM element yet. Let's go to the project and try to create my DOM element. So I have a div with ID container. Let's do the same. So I will just say div with ID container. It's not a class, it's ID. Voila. Inside this div with ID container, what do I have? Well, I have, no, actually we have a main tag. So let's do the main tag here before. Again, you don't have to do main. It's just for CSS. That's the reason why I'm respecting this idea. Anyway, after that, I have ID with container. Then I have something static here, and I have my DOM flight here. Now, of course, some part of this project, they will be static. That means they will never change. For example, this image, it will stay as it is. It will never change. These name, plane, departures, those are static. They're never going to change. But those, there is the data here, there are dynamic here. I don't have this data. I need to create them in JavaScript. So, and now I need just to create those because those all the time they stay the same. They're static. So what I can do, I can just click on this one. I can go to the flight. I can right click here and I can edit as HTML. I'm going to copy all of that. Voila. It's just some div with names. That's it. Voila. Voila. And now what I'm going to do here, that's the names. Now what I'm going to do each time I'm going to create a flight, I'm going to add it to this container. So I will need to select this one here because of the flight I create, I will need to add it to the container here. After this one, I need to add it, as you can see here. So after this one, we have all our flights. So I need to do the same. So my DOM element, what will be my DOM element? Which DOM element I need? Which DOM element do I need here? Yes.
The ID container.
Yes. So I just need the container only. I can just say container. And here I can just say document dot get element by ID. I told you the get element by ID only exists on the document. That's the reason why I need to use document. So I'm selecting this element here. Now what I need to do, I need somehow to create my flight and then append it to this container. So let's try to do that. Now what I need to do here, I need to import my data, my DOM, because both of them is separate file inside my init here. So let's try to do that. So how can I import my data? I can just say import data from / because the data and the init in the same folder. So I will just say ./data.js. That's the name of file. I want to import the DOM as well. So it will be import DOM from also in the same folder. So I'll say ./dom.js. So I'm importing my data. I'm importing my DOM. What do you think is the first step I should do after that? Let me pick one. Malloy, what do you think I do after that? What should I do here? Let me go to the application here. Now, when I go to my application, I refresh, I see all the flight. What should I do now? I want just to build this project. Malloy?
You need to put the data to the DOM.
Before that, what is the event? I need to put my event. So
Load.
Exactly. So what I need to do now, voila, first I need to add my event. What is my event? Well, if I go to the page here and I refresh, so it's happening actually after when the page is loaded here. So events here. The load event exists on which object, Roman? So the load event exists in which object? Roman, you're there? Load?
Yes. In window, I think.
Yes, very good. So it exists on the window, and we have DOM content load. There's two different events actually. DOM content load, it exists on the document. There's difference between the window and the document. The document is just my page. The window is the browser, is biggest object. It includes a lot of stuff here. This object document exists in the window. Window is the biggest object. So the load event exists on the window. The DOM content load, it exists in the document. So I'm going to use load, so I need to use here the window. So what I'm going to do here, I will just say window, lowercase, of course, add event listener. So that's how we add event. So dot add event listener. To add an event, I need to add my event first. Event, it will be string. So I will say just like that. And then as my event, it will be load, as you can see, voila. And the second parameter, it will be a function. Now here, what I can do, I can just pass the name of the function. So I can name it load handler, for example, load handler, voila. Load handler, it's a function which I do not have, which I need to create. Voila. So voila. What do we call this function here? What do we call this function which handles the event? what do we call this function, Harley? What do you call this function will handle the event?
Handler.
Handler. So I can just say handlers like that. That's the reason why we call it handlers. It looks like you are sleepy today. What's the problem with you? Okay. Voila. So now in my handler, what should I do? Well, what I can do now, let's first log my data. Only I'm going to log my data to make sure that the load is working or not. So I can just log my data like that. Click. Now, if I go to my page here, as you can see, and I click on this one, of course, I have my HTML. Now, if I load, see, I have my data now, which is normal. My data are object. I told you the data always it'd be a good idea to have an object. Inside this object, I have an array called flights, as you can see. Well, that's fine. Now, my data are as an array, as you can see. How can I create a DOM element? How can I somehow manipulate this data or do something? It's, as you can see, it's an array. Actually, before that, let me just go to something here. This is my data here. Click on this one. If I check my data, as you can see, the date here, the departure date, that means that the day the flight is gonna depart. That's the 1st of 8. This one's the 5th of 8. This is 20 of 8. Then here's 25. Here's then 10 of 8. So my data are not organized. What I need to do first, I need to organize my data. How? I want the flight which has the close date to be at the top. For example, 2 of 8 here. It's after that the flight comes for 8, and then 5, 8, and then 5, 8 again, and here they have the same time exactly, then 7, 8. So what I need to do is the flights they are near to departure, I need to put them at the top. The flights, they will need more days. So for example, if I have a flight, they're gonna departure tomorrow, I will put it at the top here. If I have another one which departed after 3 days, I will put it at the bottom. That's what I want to do. But my data are not sorted. So first, somehow I need to sort my data. How can I sort my data?
Use method sort.
Yes. So is it good idea to do the sort in separate function or do it here in the handler?
Separate function.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a small function alone, and this function, it will take my data, and then after that, it will sort it. So what I'm going to do here, I can just say const sorted data. So that will be my sorted data here. Sorted data, that means it will be the final one. It's equal to sort data. So what is sort data? That will be my function here. And now I'm passing my data here, as you can see. As you can see, what I'm doing here, well, I'm calling this function, which I don't have yet, which I need to create now. Voila, I can just say now const sort data here. It takes the data, and after that, it needs to return me my data. What did I do here? Well, the handler here, it is like the brain. What's going to do here, it will access my data. So it take my data, it pass it to this function. Now this function, as you can see, what's going to do here, this function, it will sort my data, and then it will return my data. Then I will save the data here in sorted data in this variable. So I still did not create the function. I need to create this function, of course. Or I need to implement it actually. Again, the handler here, it will receive the data. It will ask this function, sort me this data and give me the new data. So this function here, it will take the data, it will sort them, and it will give me back the sorted data, and I'm sorted in a variable. So let's try to do that here. By the way, this name and these names, they don't have to be the same. Or let me name it something differently. I can just name it flights like that. Voila. Why? Because here I am calling the function. Here I'm just saying JavaScript. This is the function here. So this name and this name are not the same. I am not allowed to access the data in this type of function, which we call util. Utils like that. So in util function, which handles the data, I am not allowed to access my data immediately. If I want to do something, I need to pass my data to the handler, and then I'll pass it to the handler, then the handler, it will pass it to this function, which is called sorted data. Okay, now I have my flat, just to show you that these names shouldn't be the same. I can say, and I will name it my data. It's not a good naming, but just so you don't confuse this one with this one. This is my data. Here, this is the flight. I'm telling this is the function. Okay, so now how can I sort my flight? If I go back to my flights here, I have something called departure date. So I want to sort them by departure date. But the departure date, as you can see, it's year, month, day, space, hour, minute, second. So what I can do, I can convert this string to date. How can I convert string to date? Well, in JavaScript, that's quite simple. We have something called the date object. So I can just say new date, well, like that, and now I can pass my string like that. Notice what will give me now. Now it will give me a new date here. So it will create a new date object for me. And this new date here, it has a lot of method on it. It can give me minute if I want to. It can give me hours. It can give me days. It can give me a lot of stuff here. Let me show you the date object in JavaScript. Date object in JavaScript. If I go to the date object, as you can see, we have get date, which will give me the, so get date here, I think it should give me the day here. So it will give me the day, like, for example, 19, 20, something like that. Get day here, it will give me the index between 0 and 6. So it will tell me if it's Saturday, if it's Sunday, something like that. It's 0 to 6 because it started, Sunday starts from 0. The index here is 0. So get day, it will give me an index. It will give me 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. 0 for Sunday, 1 for Monday, 2 for Tuesday, and so on. Get date, it will give me which day it is. Is it 10, 20, 25? There's difference between the two. Get full year, it will give me the year. Get hours, it will give me the hours. Get millisecond, it will give me millisecond. Minute, months, second. So we have a lot of method. What I'm interested in is this one, which is get time. Now, if I say get time, what it will give me? It will give me the time in millisecond, but the time from when? So it will give me the time from January 1st, 1970. So 1970, so it will calculate the time from January 1, 1970 until now. It will calculate this one, it will convert it to milliseconds simply. Is the idea clear a little bit? Yes, no. So if I have a string like that, which is year, month, day, hour, minute, second, I can convert it simply to a date object. Is the way to do it, I need to say new, because it's this one, actually, it's a class here. New date, I'm passing the date in string. Now it will give me this one, as you can see. Let me save it in a variable so I can use it. So I can say now it's equal to date. Actually, it should be new date. New date. And here I can pass my string again. Voila. Do that. Voila. Now if I say now, dot, see what do I have? See? So now this string here is being converted to an object. And because it's converted to an object, date object, I can have get date, get day, get month. So let's try to get date first. Get date. What get date it will give me here? Which day here? It's the first, as you can see. It's 1. Okay. If I say get day, here, it will give me the index. So it's index 2. Why it's index 2? Well, because Sunday is 0, Monday is 1, 2, it's Tuesday, and we are, I think it should be a Tuesday or something like that. So it's give me which day it is. It should be a Tuesday. And same here, I can get full year, I can get month, I can get date, which will give me this one, or get day, it will give me the index here. Remember, the index starts from 0. I can get hour, minute, second, and so on and so on. Okay. Now, I told you what I'm interested in is this method, which is called get time. Get time calculates the time from the 1st of January 1970 until now. That means if I have a new date, it will be larger. The number of the millisecond, it will be larger comparing to an old date. What do I mean by that? Well, if I say a new date, let me show you. And here, let me pass my string. Let's do that. And here I have a method called get time. Voila. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do that for 2023. So if I do it for 2023, so that's the number of the millisecond from January from the 1st of January 1970 until now. All of that's the number of the second. But let's try to do it now for 2025. The number of the millisecond here, it will be larger, of course. Why? Because simply, the more we go, we have more time between January 1st, 1970 and now. So as you can see, because the date here is 2025, the number of the millisecond is larger compared to 2023. So the more date in the future, the number of the gate times, the number of the millisecond, it will be larger. Why? Because my date start from January. So I'm starting from January 1970. And here we are moving here. So when I reach 1990, the time from here to here, it's smaller if I compare it to 2025. So we have more time here. Here I have less time. So it's normal, the number of the millisecond, it will be more. I think that's clear if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to loop through my data. Of course, I'm going to use sort. I'm going to loop through my data. Then I'm taking this departure date. I need to convert it to a date object. Then I need to get the number of the millisecond. And then after that, the number of the millisecond larger, I need to put it as a top. Because if it's larger, that's meant to be newer. If it's... no, actually, if it's smaller, I need to put it as a top because that means that it will be old. If it's smaller, I need to, yeah, I think. If it's smaller, I need to put it at the top. If it's larger, I need to put it at the bottom. Let's try to see it here. Go back here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm receiving my date. So let's try to first log our date or my data. Log my data like that to make sure that I am receiving my data. Click. So as you can see, my data is an object here. So I need to say my data dot flights because I need to access this object. So let's do that. What I'm going to do here, I can just say my data dot flights. As you can see, flights dot sort. So what is sort? Catherine, what is sort? What is sort?
that method.
Indeed. So higher order methods, that means it take a function as the parameter. So I will have A and B because it compare two value. Here it will compare two flights here. So now, of course, if I log the flight, of course, my flight will be an object. So this A and B, both of them, they will be object. Why? Because I'm trying to loop through my array. And my array here is, so if I log it, as you can see here. So A, it's an object, and B, it's an object. I want to access the departure date. I need to access this one. So what I'm going to do here, let me just do this one. So I can just say new date. And now here A dot departure date. Of course, I have departure date here. Departure date. Yeah, let me just make it this way. Departure date. And now I don't want the departure date. I need to get time. Why get time? To convert it to millisecond. And now I just need to say minus here. Minus this one, as you can see. Okay, what's that supposed to mean? So what's going to do, it will access A. It will access the departure date. The departure date, of course, it's just a string date. It will convert it to date. And here I'm converting it to millisecond. So here it will give me the number of millisecond. And number of millisecond, of course, as you can see, it's a number. So it returns the number of the millisecond. So it will give me the number of millisecond for the first flight and also for the second flight. Then I'm minusing them. When I minus them, simply it will sort either ascendingly or descendingly. Here, let's actually return it and see what do I mean. Return. No. Yeah, I think I need to return here. Let's just say const new flights. So I need to save, because sort return something, so I need to save it in a variable here. And at the end, I need to return this one. Return your flight. Voilà. Let's try to go to my flights here and try to log them to see how it look like. Click on this one. Click on this one. Voilà. I need to maybe push this one a little bit. Voila. Is the idea clear? What are we doing here, guys, or not? Do you know how sort work?
Why do we have to put return in this 7th line?
This one?
Yeah. Why
So
return?
return because sort here, if it's one line, so let me show you what do I mean. So if it's like that, let's say my array, let's just create an array const, ARR, like that. So if it's one line, I can just say ARR dot sort, like that. So sort, when I use an arrow function, I just have one line like that, A minus B, for example. So I don't have to return here. But here I need to have to return here. So return here, it will return me. Actually, I don't have to return this one. I need to return either -1 or, no, I need to return the value. So this one here, it will be a number. This one, it will be a number. If the number is positive, it will store them differently. So it will put, if it's positive, that means A is greater than B. If it's negative, that means B is greater than A. Let's try actually to debug it to see. First, let me log that data. Voila. First, let me check my data to see if there was what I want to or not. So let's click on this one. So as you can see, I have 1 here. Yes, I have 2, I have 4, I have 5. Yes, 5 and 5. They've been sorted. If I do that, this one, it's 7, it's 9, but both of them, they are different time. As you can see, this is 9 hours, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, but they have different times. So this is 14, 16, yes. 15, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25, 27, 30, 30, 30, but they have different date. So my flight has been sorted. Why do I need to use a return? Let's see why do I need to use return. Let's go to sort. So sort normally, as you can see, of course, it's higher order method. They take a function as a parameter here. So what it's going to do here, sort here, it depends on the return value. It should return a number where. So I need the return here. Why do I need the return? Well, because if I'm minusing 2 millisecond time, it will give me either positive value or a negative value, or it will give me 0. If it give me 0, it will change nothing. But if the value is negative, then A should come before B. So it will put A first, then B. Because negative, that simply means if I'm using A and B, if it's negative, that means A is smaller than B. So if I am sorting them ascendingly from the smaller to bigger, that means this one here should come first because A, it will be smaller than B.
So, Sam, if the function is in one line, do you still need to use return, or you don't have to use
No.
return if it's in one line?
No, because that's arrow function. See, I don't return. Arrow function does not need to
Yeah.
return value.
So
That's
you're
the reason
using
we.
return because it's a 2-line. Is that correct?
Yes. So now if I make it one line, let's try to make it one line. I don't need to use return. Let me show you. If I do it this way, and now I don't need to use return actually. Voila, sort like that. Voila. That here I don't need to use any return, as you can see. And even I don't need to use return here as well. As I can simply return this value here, return. Voila. Because simply it's an arrow function, as you can see. Yes, Daniel?
Yes.
Because arrow function, if we have one line, we don't need to use return. But if I have multiple line, I have the body of the function, I have multiple line, I need to return the value. Okay, now I've checked my data here. As you can see, all of them are being sorted the way I want to here. As you can see, they've been sorted here from the smallest to the largest, I suppose. Yeah. So here, the number of the millisecond, it will be smaller. Here it will be bigger. It will be bigger because simply the more data in the future, the number of the millisecond, it will be bigger. Okay, that's first. So now what I'm doing here, as you can see, I'm sorting my flight. I'm returning my flight. That's the sorted data. They're here. I'm saving it in this variable, as you can see. So this function here, it just take data, sort the data, and give me back my data. This type of function, we call it util function, as we studied before. And after that, after I have my sorted data, now what should I do? What should I do after I have my data sorted data? What should I do?
Create element and push it to the element.
I need to create DOM element, but how? It's an array. Sajid, what do you think? I have an array. How can I create a DOM element for them?
For each.
Yes, so I need to loop through my array. Yes. So simply I need to loop through my array. So what I can do here, I can just simply say const. No, let me loop directly through it. So what I can do here, I can just say sorted data dot for each. For each is higher order method, as you know. Now here I will have a flight. Why? Because it's array of flight, so I can have flight. Let's just name it flight data like that. And voila, as you can see. Now the flight data, of course, it will be an object. Let me log it for you again so you can see it. Voila, so that's a flight data. It's looping through all my flights. That's a flight 1, flight 2, 3, 4, 5, so on, so on, so on, so on. Now what I need to do, I need to create a DOM element for one flight. So I have this flight data, which is an object. Now I need to create a DOM element for it. Now, is it a good idea to create a function separately to create this DOM element, or is it a good idea to add it here in the handler?
Separate.
I need to separate it. And this type of function, we call them components. Component function. So what do I want to do now? I need to create a function const. Let's just name create flight. Create flight. And create flight, of course, it will take a flight data. Flight data like that. And here it will return me, it need to return me a DOM element simply. Voila. Okay, so now what do I need to do? Well, I need to pass my data. As you can see, I will pass this data, which is called flight data. I will pass it to this function. So I need to call the function, of course. So I can just say const flight DOM. It's equal to, and now I can call my function, which is called create flight. And now here I can pass flight data. Remember something. This function here, I will create, I'm passing it the flight data here, this data here, it will be an object. And it will create me the DOM element, and after that, it need to return the DOM element. And I need to save the DOM element in this variable. Why? Because I am planning to append this DOM flight inside the container. So how can I create a flight? Well, first let's check how the flight look like. So as you can see, if I go to flights here, now what I need to create a div with class called flight DOM. Then I need to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divs, and each one has its own class. So the first step, let's create this one here, which is called the container here. That will be the container here. So all of those, it will be inside this guy here, which is called flight DOM. How can I create a div? Yes.
Create element.
We can just say const flight, or let's just name it container. Container, it's equal to document dot create element, and the element is div here, container. That's fine. Okay, what it has a class? Yes, it has a class called flight DOM. Of course, to add a class, you can say class name because it has one class, but I'm gonna use class list. So here, container.classlist.add, and I need to add this flight DOM. So that's the container. That's the first element I create, which is here, this one. And now I need to create the name here. So let's try to create the name. How can I create the name? Well, it's quite simple as well. The name is div, so I can just say const name. It's equal to document dot create element, and here actually it's a div. Okay, now what do I want to put inside this name here? So as you can see, I have something here which is called KK01. What is this KK01? Well, I can check my data if I want to, or I can log them. So KK01, or this one here, it's a name. So I need to put this data inside this element. Remember, this one here, the flight data, it will be the same, it will be something like that. It will be an object. So if I hover over it, it is an object. Let's click on this one. It doesn't show me every. So it will be an object with this one. So I have ID, I have name, I have plane, I have departure date, I have origin, I have all this one in this flight data. And yeah. So now how can I put this name inside this element? Well, to put it, I can use inner text as we see, name dot inner text. It will be equal here. This is my object, and inside my object, I will have a property called name dot name. Voila. How could I know that? Well, because that's my object. I know inside my object I have something called name. Now it has a class as well. So this element name has a class called name, as you can see, and I need to add this class. Same idea, I can use class name, or I can use simply same idea class list. So I can just say name class list dot add, and here the class is name. Voila. Remember, I'm creating this element, I'm creating this element. I'm not appending anything. I'm just creating them. After that, I have the plane here, and it will be the same idea. It will be div as well. So I can just say const plane. It will be equal to document dot create element. It's also div, and I need to add a class to it as well. Go here. As you can see, that's the div, and the class is simply, it will be plain. So let's add the class plain. Now I need to add the text inside it. To add the text as it is as the plain, that's what I want to add. So I will just say here plain dot inner text, and here it will be flight data, my data here dot plain, because I have a property called plain. After that, I have departure date. I need to add the departure date. So now it's repetitive here. I'm just creating element, as you can see. Const departure date here, document dot create element is also a div. Departure date has a class called departure date. Departure date DOM. It's not a good naming, but anyway. So what I'm going to do here, I need to add the class here, departure date dot class list dot add, and after that I need to add a text inside the departure date dot inner text, which is be flight data dot departure date. I've created the departure date, and now I need to do the same for origin, arrival date, destination, and stop. So I will go quickly here, because simply here it's just repetitive. So origin here, it will be a div. I think it has a class called origin, as you can see. And now I need to add the inner text simply. After the origin, I have arrival date. Arrival date, it will be a div as well. I think it has a class called arrival date DOM. Arrival date DOM, yes. And then after that, I just need to add the inner text. So arrival date dot flight data dot arrival date, which will be this one. I still have two of them, which will be destination. Same idea. And the last one, it will be the number of the stops. That should be this. Okay. Now, I've created all my elements here, all of them. I've created the name, I've created container, I've created name, I've created plane, I've created departure date, origin, arrival, destination, stop. I added the class to them. I also, when they need it, I add the inner text to them. Now, as you can see, all of those here, all of those name, plane, these ones are inside this guy here, which is a container, which has a class called flight DOM. So I need to put them inside. How can I put name, plane, and departure date, origin, all of them inside this one, which is a container? Append. So I can just simply append. So I can just simply say here, what was the name? That it was container dot. I'm not going to use append child, because append child take one. But if I say append, I can do name. The order is important. First, I need the name. Then I need the plane. Then I need departure date. Then I need origin. Then I need arrival date. Then I need destination. Then I need stop. Now I put all of those here. I put them inside this container here, this element. Now all I need to do, I just need to return this guy here. Why do I need to return that? Well, because simply my function here, as you can see, when I call the function, it needs to return DOM element for me. So I need to return here the container. So I just need to say return container. Remember something, you will never append to the DOM here, because if you append the DOM here, this function here, after that, we cannot use it anymore. Anytime you create something, it will be in the same place. You just need to return it. Voila. Now that's my DOM element. Let me log my DOM element so we can see how my DOM element look like. Clear? Voila. Okay, as you can see, that's it. So that will be my DOM element. I have a div with class flight DOM, and if I expand it here, I just have the name. Why do I have the name just? Because it's append child. It should be append. Let's go here. Click. As you can see, I have flight DOM, and inside it I have name, plane, departure date, origin, arrival date, destination, stop. So I'm returning this DOM element. Now all I need to do, I need to add this DOM element inside the container here, which is this guy here. Okay, so how can I do that? Well, it's quite simple. All I have to do now, I can just say DOM dot container dot append child. I can use append child because it's just one, or I can just use append here. And if I go to my website, as you can see, is the idea clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want me to debug the code if it's not clear, or is it clear for everyone? Mohammed Labrash, is it clear for? Yeah. Mohammed Labrash, Mohammed Mustafa.
Sounds clear.
Okay, great. So now I have my code. I've created my code. I created my project. So as you can see, I've already separated my code. Actually, that's util function, that's component function, that's handler, and that's event or listener. Now the event and the listeners are very easy to distinguish, but the component and util, they're not easy. Why they're not easy? Because, well, actually they're easy, but they're not really intuitive. So what are util function? Util function is a function that handles data only. So I only see the data. I'm manipulating the data. I take data, manipulate the data. In the util function, you will never deal with the DOM, never, ever. In the component function, here we deal with the DOM. We create element, we append element, we add text. Of course, it takes data as well, but here we deal with the DOM, simply like that. So that's the difference between the two. In util function, you will never deal with the DOM. But in component function, yes, you can create element, append element, or to receive data, put this data inside specific element, or so on. And it will return me DOM element. Now, not always I need to return the DOM element. Sometimes I just need to, the DOM element exists, I just need to update it. In this case, I don't need to return this one because I don't need it, it's already on the DOM, I just need to update it. Yeah, so now what should I do? I just need to separate these guys. How can I separate these guys? Well, I already have my DOM here. I already have my data here. That's great. Now what I need to do, I need somehow to take my event here, cut it, go to the event here, and here I have click event. I'm gonna just rename it to load event. By the way, you don't have to name it load event. You can just name it load if you want, load event. And I'm gonna put it here. Now, the problem here is, here I just have line of code. So it's not easy to export this one because I need everything inside init. Why? Because actually inside my HTML, the file is being connected is init. So somehow I need to import this event inside my init. But it's line of code. Either I need to import the whole module, which I don't want to. I need to find a way to import it. Well, the easy way, it's to create a function and put this one inside the function. So simply because it's an event, I can just say const load event. That will be the name of my function, load event. And now I will put my code here. Now, because it's a function, now it's easy to export it. I can just say export default load event. Voila. So I put my code, my event inside the function. Why? Because like that, it's easy to export. Okay, that's my function. Now I just need to import it inside init. So what I'm going to do, yeah, but I need to separate those as well. Fine, let's just import it here. It was load event. Voila. So I imported my function here. Of course, because this one inside the function, my event, it will not trigger. It will not happen because it is inside the function. So I need to call the function. So it will be triggered. So all I have to do to call this one is a function. So to call it, all I have to do just, voila, do that. And now it will work. My event, it will work. That's nice. So I get rid of the event. I put the event here. I put it inside the function, I export it, and then I import the load event here, and then because the load event, it's a function, I need to execute it. If I don't execute it, it will not add the event here. So I'm just saying load event. I have my handler now. I need to put my handler somewhere else, not here. So what I can do, I can cut my handler, go inside handler like that, and I have click handler. I was gonna rename it to load handler. Load handler, voila. And now if I do that, I just need to put it here, voila. And now it's a function, so I can just export it. That should be simple. Okay, after that, I'm coming here. Well, I have my util here. My util, I can cut my function as well. Go to util here, and I can put my function here. It's not is even. I will just rename it. I will name it, for example, sort flight or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter really. Flight, sort flights like that. Now the name of the file is up to you to name it however you want to. You can use camel casing or kebab casing. I just need to export this function also. Why? Because I need to use it somewhere else. Sort data. Voila. So now I'm just dividing them. The last one here, it will be the component. I just need to cut my component and voila. Let's go to component here. And it's not header. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to name it create flight. Create flight. Voila. If I open create a flight, that's my function. And now I need to export it. Okay, I've was managed to separate all my code here. As you can see, I can just get rid of all of that. Now here, I don't need really the data or the DOM here because I'm not using them, so I can get rid of them here. So I'm just importing here my event, and that's how it should be. So in the init, you only need to import your event, and of course you need to execute it because it's a function. Now, of course, my code is not gonna work. Why? Because there's some stuff I'm missing. So let's go first to the event. Click on the event. What do I need in the event? What do I need here? What do I need in the event?
Import load handler.
I need to import load handler. So yeah, I can just say import load handler, and it's coming from /handler.js. Your VS Code will help you with the path. I fixed this problem. Now I need to go to, let's go to my util first. Now in my util here, click, and now let's go to my handler. I still need some stuff here. I still need some stuff. What do I need here? In the handler, I need some stuff. Also, I need the DOM. So I need the DOM and I need the data here. As you can see, because I'm using both, so I need to import my data here. Import data. It will come in from /data. No. Let me see, where is my data? So my data here, it will be /, and here I need data.js. I need the DOM as well. So DOM is the same. Why I need the DOM? Because I'm accessing the DOM here. Why do I need the data? Because I'm passing my data here. That's the reason. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Now, if I go to my util function, yes.
I think you will need the util as well.
I will need the util, and also I will need what?
Yes.
The component. You are absolutely right. So I need to import my util function. I also need to import my create flight. So let me import. What's the util name? It's called, it was sort
data.
Sort data. So let me go to my handler, and now I use this one, and it will be from util sort flight.js. So I imported this function as well. And as you can see, I need create flight as well. So I need to say import create flight. It's not from create flight, no. It's from .. And I need to go to component, and then I need to go to create flight.js. Voila. And now this guy is okay. So I'm importing everything. Now I should not have any problem. That's my util function. That's my component function. That's my data. And that's my DOM. And I have everything. It's okay. Now, if I go to create flight, do I need anything here? In create flight, do I need anything? Do I need anything in create flight? Well, no, actually, I don't need anything because here I'm just passing this function, this declaration of the function. If I go to util here, click on util, also I don't need anything, as you can see. No, so I don't need neither in the util, neither in the component function. And actually, that's what may make it reusable. Why? Because this one is just a function here. It's just like I'm telling JavaScript, this is a function. So now this function, I can use it any place inside my program. All I need to do, I need to pass the data, and the structure of the data need to be correct, and it will work. That's fine, I suppose. I've separated everything. My code should work, actually, if I don't have any problem. Let's see. And as you can see, no problem at all. Of course, if you have a problem, you'll see here. Okay, now I know how to do that. Now I need to do something else. I need somehow to test my flight. What time is it? It's already 10 and so let's just create our project. Maybe in the second half, I'll teach you how to test your component function, because we can test our component function, and also we need to test our util function. Is the idea clear, this one? Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there's one thing I did not touch. Of course, you already know how to test your function, util function, but component you don't know. But let's just keep it in the second half, because I think I already give you too much information. Okay. If I go to my module here, which is separation of concern, of course, we have very big module, and we have only 2 weeks for it. So yeah, NVM, use 15. Okay, now let's just say lenses is 2. Good. So what are those? Well, what you need to do now, you need to go through the exercise, start from 0 until 8. I don't think most of you will be able to finish all of them, but that's okay. Finish as much as you can. So here in data rule, what is doing here? It's just explaining here, state is just explaining that your data should be in a separate file, as you can see. So we have our data, just like our data, I told you my data need to be an object. That's how we just here is called state. So my data is an object, and I have some data for any project. So they are just trying to teach you separation of concern, as you can see, but I've already told you what to do here. We have data. We have something called constant. We don't use constant anymore. It's not really efficient. So the idea of the constant, I'm going to explain to you. So for example, if you have any event, for example, click event, load event, they're saving it in a variable and they're using it. I don't think this is practical. It's really not a good idea to use this one. IDs, they're saving it here, this constant. So I don't use this way here. Just data, it's enough. We don't need to use a constant here. Function rules, I just told you, we have listener, we have handler, we have util, we have component. Custom event, don't do that. I will explain it later. DOM manipulation, you can see there's example, there's exercises that teach you how to create the DOM, blah, blah, blah. Isolate and integrate, they are just example also about DOM, add event, listener, and so on, and so on, and so on. And here, listener and handler, same idea. Magical variable, so magical variable normally, for example, like pi. So let me create a new thing here. Let's name it test. Test. So what are magical variable? For example, if I say const, pi, sometimes some people like to make it uppercase like that. Pi is a value which is 3.14. These constant numbers, sometimes we call it magical number because it's a constant. Magical numbers, that means it's hard-coded number. We just type it this way. What else? Step, so you can go through this one here, simple interaction, second interaction. try to do them. Of course, we need to learn also how can we test our component function. I will teach you later, as I told you, maybe in the second half. And yeah, some refactoring here, some example. And after that, you have a lot of project here. Many projects you can do. Digital clock, number guessing, start rating project, coin toss, color game, drum kit. So there is many. You don't have to finish everything, but try to finish as much as you can. Any question before I allow you to go to do your exercises and projects? Question?
So, can we have to start lesson plan or not?
Yeah, we don't have lesson plan. Lesson plan is in this one. What explains. That's the lesson plan. So lesson plan, I just explain it in the project. So it's just a present of course, and it just exercise all of them. And of course, there are projects actually. All of those are projects here. Project and exercise. A question? Okay, go through the exercise slowly, read it. If something is difficult for you, let me know. If something you don't understand, let me know. I'm gonna stop the recording. Stop.